directions here, and then we'll be able to talk. When we talk, I want you to talk to me.
Yeah.
Okay? Just ignore the camera.
Oh, okay.
Because if you look at me, then just a little bit of adjustment. There we go. Then that's very natural.
Yeah.
If you look at the camera, it becomes very unnatural.
I'm expecting it.
Okay. Now, we need to do a few things here right at the beginning, just to introduce this tape to whoever might be looking at it.
Okay.
Can you give me your name, please?
Orville Hatley.
And Mr. Hadley, when were you born?
I was born at Gorham, Illinois.
And what year?
July the 26th, 1922.
July 26, 1922, in
Right.
Gorham, Illinois.
Yeah.
Where is Gorham, Illinois?
You know where Carbondale is? About 18 miles south of that, along the Mississippi.
Now, isn't there a university at Carbondale?
No, I didn't get to go to college. I went to high school, but then I didn't get to go to college because back then everything we know was, well, nobody was making any money, let's put it that way. So, in order to, I went to work instead of going to college.
Tell me, but there are a number of things we want to talk about. We want to talk about your war experience, training, but we'd also like to know a little bit about life beforehand. So you were born again, 1922,
Mm-hmm.
and the community you grew up in, was it rural or
Just
urban?
rural. And the back the population was about 1,200.
And what did your father do?
Was my what?
What did your parents do?
Well, my dad, he had worked on the railroad, Illinois Central Railroad. My mother, as far as I know, never did work.
Tell me about your father working on the railroad.
He was just working on a section hand, as a section hand.
Okay.
And, well, he's right at the age that he should have retired, but, which he did a couple of years later. And, outside of that, there's not much to tell about him.
Okay. Now, you had did you have brothers and sisters?
I had five sisters and 4 brothers.
Very large family.
Very large. Yeah.
Okay. And where were you among these?
I was next to the last one. I had one brother younger yet than I.
Okay. Now, being born in 1922, of course, you grew up a good portion of your life during the Great Depression.
Yeah.
So, when did you become aware that? Tell me about being aware of the Depression. What made you aware of it?
Well, just about everything around you back then days told you there wasn't no money in to be in, and for you to get hold of any of it.
Did you do any part-time work or anything like that?
At that time, I went into CC camps for a year.
The CC camps?
Yeah.
That's civilian. So people.
Civilian Conservation Corps.
Now, why don't we start there? My uncle was in the Civilian Conservation Corps, by the way.
Yeah.
So, how old were you when you went into the
17.
And what kind? Describe the camps to me.
Well, I worked in a camp in Pekin, Illinois. That was a camp, and worked in a limestone quarry. In other words, breaking the rock, and they was breaking it up or smashing it up and putting it on the farms.
Putting on the what?
Out on the farms. They furnished all the farms around there, all the limestone that they dust that they could use for the fertilizer.
That's okay. And as I recall, weren't these camps run by the United States Army?
Well, they were supposed to be, but the only thing I seen in the United States Army was on Saturday morning. It was always devoted to working for the Army. I was cleaning up, going to clean the camps and stuff like that. And after then, that's Saturday afternoon, you was free.
Now, how? Tell me about how you were paid and that sort of thing.
$30 a month, once a month. That's $1 a day. I got 22, and my parents got. No, I take one. Beg your pardon. My parents got $22, and I got $8. Wait a minute.
Right. Okay. And that would have been what year? Do you recall?
That year was I guess about 32 or something. No, it had to be 17. Most of it got in at 16. So,
That'd be about
about 1936, 38.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this was before the war.
Yeah.
And when you finished serving in the
Well, you were only allowed to serve 1 year.
Oh, okay. And did you work after that?
Yes, I went to work on the Mississippi River. I worked as a deckhand there. And in fact, I worked there until I went in the Army in 42.
Now, believe it or not, I grew up along the Mississippi,
Yeah.
down in southeast Arkansas. So tell me about, you worked as deckhand. Was this on a boat, I'm trying? So tell me about that.
On a boat pushing barges, and I was working for an outfit called Federal Barge Line. And we picked up our tows in St. Louis and dropped them off at New Orleans. And a lot of times, some of it along the way.
So what do you remember about New Orleans?
Big one?
You must have been quite impressed with New Orleans, big city.
Well, we didn't get in town very much. We went most of the time. They would have we'd take our barges down there, seven or eight of them, and tie them up. And then we'd they'd have a barges waiting for us to go back. Just down and back.
Down and back. Okay. The one of the things I've asked people about, because it's just one of those days that people remember, is Pearl Harbor Day. My father, by the way, remembers that he was at Pearl Harbor. He's a Pearl Harbor survivor. So, where were you December the 7th, 1941?
I didn't tell you. I was sitting at my sister's house in St. Louis, and when they came over the radio, and everybody couldn't believe it. And then the next morning, it was on Sunday, the next morning, I went down to enlist. And I was trying to get in the Navy Air Force, Navy Air Corps, they told me I had a heart murmur. And I said, okay. So if that's the case, then I said, the draft's going to have to get me now. And it did. I went back on the river, and I worked till 1942, and I got my notice from the draft board. Okay. And that's when I first went in the Army.
Now, tell me about your first day in the Army.
Well, the first day in the Army was shots, and I took them all, and over a period of about, you took about 6 or 7 of them, and I took them all, and then when they lost my records, when I went down, and I had to take them all over again. So, that was about the worst part I had when I first went in the Army. And that's one I remember, taking those shots.
Okay. Share with me, and with the people who are watching this tape, a little bit about what basic training was like.
Well, I tell you, all my basic training was delayed. Because we went to Camp Carmel, Kentucky, and the day before we started processing, one of the boys broke out with chicken pox, and our whole barracks was quarantined, and so that delayed our training. So they finally put us off to ourselves, where we didn't come in contact with anybody else, and we took our basic training. We took our first, march and stuff like that. Now, in the first couple of days, was getting clothes and stuff like that.
Okay. How did you happen to become part of the 12th Armored?
I don't know how I got in there, because at that time he was forming the 12th Armored Division, and for Camp Carmel, Kentucky, and the quartermaster they were issuing all of our clothes to us, and the first 2 days was getting our clothes and shots and all, and being in the process, and put it that way. And then I went to the 493rd Field Artillery headquarters, and let's see, I stayed with those headquarters till I went. They asked for volunteers to go Tennessee maneuvers as umpires, and I went out on an umpire detail, and I was gone for 3 months. Tennessee maneuvers, and after it was over with, we went back to our regular unit. And when I went in, they told us to don't unpack because we're going back, because the 12th Armored Division was going back then. And they gave us 2 weeks leave, and we had to report in to the 12th Armored when we come back. And
now, was the 492nd...
493rd.
493rd, sorry.
Yeah.
Was the 493rd attached to the 12th Armored?
Oh, it was one of them. It was the Field Artillery Battalion.
And ultimately, what was your rank?
Well, that's a good story too. I always had been having a good time, and so I went home, and I went back. I went all the way to St. Louis from Fort Knox, or Campbell, Kentucky, and I missed my bus connection going back. And I got on the Friday, I made T5, technician 5th grade. And I got in there St. Louis, going back Sunday, and I missed my bus connection, and I didn't get into camp until Monday noon. And I walked in, the captain told me, the first sergeant was in the day room, he says, don't stop here, go on one end to the old man, and I did. And I walked in, he says, Hatley, he says, you just made T5 Friday, didn't you? I said, yes, sir. And we had to show him on that weekend. And he said, you just made Corporal Friday. I said, yes, sir. He says, and lost it on a Monday. That is, I made it on weekend and lost it on the weekend. And I didn't get it back until I got off of Tennessee maneuvers. I don't remember what date that was. But I got off in October with the 12th Armored. And then we come back we went back to our old unit, headquarters, 493rd. And at that time, they was reorganizing the 12th Armored Division. And so I missed most of my, by being on maneuver for 6 months, I missed most of my boot camp and all that, all the drills and all that, because I was out on the maneuvers. And so I didn't have no job when I got down to Campbell, Barclay. And so they shipped me to the sea battalion to before I get some more training in. And from there I was just shipped around here and there, every place. And so I got tired of it, and I volunteered to go to the infantry. And I went over to the 66th Infantry Company.
And that's with 12th Armor?
They got me to 12th Army. I never went into anything else except the 12th Army.
In a minute, I want to come back to Barclay and that sort of thing. But you mentioned being something that interests me.
What?
You talked about being an umpire. Now, very few people today would know what the life of a military umpire was like. So, share with them what an umpire did during the Tennessee maneuvers.
On maneuvers? Well, okay. It was acted out like a regular war. Okay, they give us coordinates on a map of an artillery barrage. And we went to this coordinates. If there's any soldiers is out there within that area where the shell was supposed to hit, why we marked them off as casualties. And they were out of that problem for that week. And it wasn't a bad deal, but so it fouled me up a lot of time.
I'm sorry?
It so fouled me up a lot of time.
What do you mean by fouled you up?
Well, I mean, what I meant overall, because I didn't have no training in my regular company, see? So I just a floater, you might say, just everywhere.
When you told soldiers that they were dead,
Okay.
as an umpire, how did they react to you?
Nothing. Most of them were glad that shit happened, and we'd put a white armband on them. That meant that they was out of action. And I was a driver, so all I had to do was follow the coordinates what they tell me to.
So you actually were an aide to the officers that were in charge of this?
We had a lieutenant, second lieutenant, and we had a radio operator, and then we had a sergeant that he's the one who wrote out all the casualty lists and turned it down.
Okay. Were you married at this time?
Yes.
Okay.
I had one boy, a son.
Okay, well let's go back a little bit then. When did you first get married?
I get married, let's see. I don't remember what day it was when I got married. I'll be honest with you. There's so much that passed.
Which, were you in the military at that time?
Yeah.
Okay, you were already in the Army.
Yeah.
Okay. How did you meet your wife?
Well, I got off, at the time I met my wife, I was working out on the river. And this guy was, when we got a chance to be in town, we'd go get a few beers and then we'd go to the roller rink or something like that. And I met my wife at the roller rink. And, she was 17 and I was 18 years old at the time.
Okay. And you got married, and...
I got married about almost a year later. Just before I went in the Army, I got married.
And so, was your wife able to go to Camp Campbell?
Hmm?
Was your wife able to come with you to Camp Campbell?
Yeah, but it was so havoc, and you couldn't find any place there. She'd come down and stay for a couple of weeks at a time, and she'd have to go back home. Then she worked 2 She was working for a bank in St. Louis, and she couldn't get that much time off.
How about now, when you came to Camp Barkley, was your wife able to come to Abilene?
Yeah, she come down and stayed about 3 months for me. And it was hard getting places to live. I had just a one bedroom and kitchen privileges. Over down
What was, so she's from St. Louis,
yeah,
big city.
yeah.
How did she feel about Abilene?
Well, she didn't like it, but she followed the rules, I guess. And,
Now, you had one child at that time.
we had one child a year later. He was born in December the 10th, 1943,
1942.
right after I went in the army.
Right. Okay. So you now did she take that infant with her to Abilene?
No.
Okay.
So her mother taking care of him. And when he come down for 2 weeks, she said, no, I'm going to take the kid down there with her.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about your training with the 66th Infantry. You volunteered for them,
Yeah.
and what did you do? What was your job?
I was a rifleman in a machine gun squad.
Okay.
And had this all it was heights, and learned how to shoot, how to use a rifle, the bayonet, and all that. And then I had to do it the hard way because everybody, you know, supported advancing me, and they were trying to get me ready to get the not combat infantry, but expert infantry badge. I missed it because I hadn't had enough training. And then after I got overseas, well, I got my combat infantry badge.
What? Tell me a little bit. As soldiers here in Abilene, what did you all do for recreation?
Well, we had most of us would go to PX, or we'd come in down in the swimming pools here, and on Sunday morning, I don't know what the place is yet. Now, I was asking something about some of the others. We used to come in and get waffles every Sunday morning, and I still can't remember what the name of the place was. But that was every Sunday morning at the fair.
What is your strongest memory of your months here in Abilene?
And I have nothing against Abilene. I always liked Abilene.
Okay. How was the weather?
It was cold. I've had here one camp that I couldn't put on enough clothes to keep warm. Because,
Now, you finished your training here when?
I finished it, let's see, we went overseas in October, and I finished up in about August, somewhere along in there.
Okay. Now, you know, I haven't, I've ridden a few trains. I've ridden a few trains in China, very crowded.
Yeah.
Tell me about the train ride from here to, I think you went to New Jersey, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about the train ride from Abilene to New Jersey. What was it like?
Oh, that was, I can't tell you too much about it because it's just, all I can say is just a long, grueling trip because at that time, remember, the train's all you use coal. And you get up in the morning, you take a bath. By noon, you're just as black as you was before because there's all that soot coming in the windows on us. And we stopped in a place in New York. I don't remember the name, but we stopped there and a few of the boys was from there, Elmira.
Yeah.
And they stopped, they had their people they knew the train he was on somewhere, and they met the train. He couldn't get off, but then he could stand at the door or the window and talk to him. And then we went into Camp Shanks, New York.
And would you share with us a little bit about Camp Shanks? What was that like?
Mostly shots and getting new equipment. And we got a pass into New York City. And most of them went in loaded up on beer. So that's about all I can tell you about that.
Now, at that point, shortly after that, you of course went to England, and you were on board a troop transport.
We went overseas on the Empress of Australia, British. It went before it had been a luxury liner, and they changed it over for troops. And our company commander, he volunteered our company to pull ship details over to England to get us on a B deck above the water, And we slept in the hallways. And
What are some of the things you remember? Tell me about the trip over.
well, it was raining most of the time, and a lot of seasickness. And it never bothered me that way. But I'd go on the latrine, and it'd be every place I looked, somebody was heaving, so I got sick too then. And
With that many people, I trust it was crowded.
oh yeah. But we had, I tell you what, something else. We had beans 3 times a day, morning, noon, and night. And it was still operated by the British, and that was real food for us.
What did you think of the British sailors?
British sailors, I didn't know too much about them, and we kidded them a lot about turn the lights back on in London for them. But they contained nothing about sailor knives. We got overseas. We tangled with them a few times, and we was stationed at Tidworth Barracks, and we went into Salisbury, and our guys over to get a few beers with them, and we got into it with the British soldiers. British paratroopers, rather.
What was the cause of some of these conflicts?
I don't know, just one word led to another, get the ribbon about that, not being able to fight the war. They had to call the Americans over and like some stuff like that. And you couldn't blame them a bit.
There was a phrase the British used to use saying about Americans, that Americans were overpaid, oversexed, and overheated.
Yeah.
How'd they react to that sort of thing?
And the guys, no way that I know of, it didn't bother me.
Okay.
Because actually, one our fault is they wasn't getting paid the same amount of money. But even what we was getting at the time, I was getting $64 a month.
Now, while you were in England and again in France and Germany, tell me about communicating with your wife, talking to them.
All we could do was write email. That was it. We didn't pay no postage, and it was just a big sheet of paper like that, and you write what you wanted and folded it over, and that's put it in the mail, and that's the way it went. Free mail.
And what were you able tell your wife about your experience?
Well, we couldn't tell her nothing. We couldn't tell her no information at all. And all you do is everyday communication like you do at home now.
Okay. And she was able to write you.
Oh, yeah, she's, well, but at the first, no, because we were moving around so much. She wrote the letters, but we didn't get them. Let's put it that way.
Okay. And how long was it between the time that you landed in England and then you went across the sea into France?
I don't know.
Okay, that's okay. You experienced combat.
Did I experience yes, I did.
Tell me about the first time that you found yourself under fire. First time that you found yourself in combat.
Well, it was on a place called Vichy, France. And we took a town, one town. The first time we was on the line, let's put this way, we walked about 3 miles. It was getting shelled all the time. We was up on a hill, and one of our lieutenant, him and one squad was trying to knock out a German tank with a bazooka, and the shells would just glance off, and they turned around and fired, and he got killed instantly. That was our first casualty, and yeah, everybody was good, I guess. But, I know I was.
You know, were you prepared for, and you're talking about using a bazooka, I mean your unit used a bazooka. Were you prepared for how tough the German tanks were?
Yeah, we had heard that if you shot one on the head end, you wasn't going to knock it out unless it was small, a small tank. But the regular Tiger tank, what we had at that time, we couldn't do it.
So how would you take a tank out? What would you do?
We called for artillery. And artillery, they would back out when artillery started laying barges down on them.
What, I'm sure you made some very close friends.
Oh, yeah.
Can you share with me any memories of particular friends?
I had about 3 or 4, I count them at the time. I had about 5 of us guys that bummed around together all the time. And just regular buddies, you go when you want me,
Now, being in infantry, I assume that you dug a lot of foxholes.
Oh, yeah.
For people who have no idea what a foxhole is, tell me about digging a foxhole in Europe.
Well, we dug a lot of foxholes in most of the hedgerows. And we dig down about 4 or 5 foot. If there's 2 of you, you dug one big enough for both of you. And then you try to put something over top of it. At that time it was raining. And otherwise you'd be, first thing you know, you stand in water up to your knees. And when we hit the lines, we all had 4 buckle overshoes on. And you can imagine trying to walk in mud up to your knees. And then let's see, the overshoes would come off, and first thing you know, you just got so tired of reaching down trying to get them out of the mud, and you just reach down and get one in each arm and carry them like this. And we finally got the combat boots in. And I went all the way through. until the 27th of April before I ever got a scratch. I thought I had my feet froze at, on Christmas Day in 1944.
And where were you on Christmas Day, 44?
It was a place called Santa and all we was doing is laying up on a hill, watching the Germans down below there, encamped down below. They had fire and tent and everything else. All we was doing laying up there watching them on top of the hill. And heck, they come out there, they stand way behind us like that, and then we was laying up there in the snow just about that deep. And
Were you treated for frostbite? Or?
yeah, I spent Christmas Day 1944, 44 in the hospital. And then I went back to the company, and I couldn't get walk around very good because it was still very tender. So when they went up again, well, they put me driving the Jeep with the first sergeant, and
Did you drive the Jeep the rest of the war?
on and off, yes. Because we had a tank a Jeep that was shared with somebody else. See. So when the first sergeant had to have it, why, we'd get it. And finally, when we got up at the Como pocket, why, we found one of our own. It was sitting out in the field, nobody using it. So we latched on to it. We liberated, as you call it.
What liberated the Jeep? That's good. Okay, I like that. Herlisheim. Were you at Herlisheim?
Herlisheim, yeah.
Why don't you share a little bit of your memory of Herlisheim?
Herlisheim, I was the night before. My squad leader, they told me I wasn't going to go up the next morning because I was going to drive a half track. We had a mortar squad attached to it, 4.2 mortar, and I was supposed to drive them around wherever they had to go, and that's what I was doing. But that night, that day, when the company, we lost the whole company. Now I went back. I drove. Let's see. I don't. At that point, I'm forgetting part of it because.
That's okay. Yeah, that's all right. Let's see. Now, Colmar Pocket, was that your last combat?
Colmar, no.
Okay. Share some more with me then.
Now, Colmar, we taken in from before that though. We made the push to the Rhine River for Patton, with Third Army, and then we crossed the Rhine River at Warren. And we was riding the half track most of the time then, and then when we get called back and we're doing the Battle of the Bulge, we went in Colmar, and Porter, I know we were supposed to help them, help the 30. We were relieved by the 36th Infantry, let's put it that way.
You know, this is a personal question. Not long ago, one of the veterans sent some of his memories in, and it included the German Home Guard outfit.
Yeah.
So tell me about the Germans in the last day of the war. What kind of troops were you facing?
Mixed. There's a lot of German SS troopers. It was the last day of the war. I was with them. We went up to I stayed with the company until I got to Lindbergh, Germany. And I got hit in the back with shrapnel. And then, but the German troopers they was mixed, everything. But they were still enough to put up a pretty good fight. Every once in a while they'd put up a good fight.
Now you were wounded with shrapnel. Was that the end of your
Yeah.
combat?
Yeah, in the lower back.
Okay. How serious? Well, obviously, was it your
I was
serious?
in the hospital for about 35 days.
And where was this?
I was in the 251st General Hospital in Reims.
So you stayed in the Reims would be in Germany?
No, that's France.
That's France, that's
See,
right.
they shipped us back. What they would do, they'd haul gasoline up to the front, which was on the C-47s, and then going back, they'd take troops, and they'd carry 27 standing, but after half of that, if there's litters.
Okay, and you were on the litter.
Yeah.
Okay. What? Tell me a little bit about the hospital. Share the hospital.
Hospital was good. It was very good. We had a lot of fun with it, and we was able to. Well, we had the nurses, we had the Red Cross girls, and we had the Salvation Army, and all of them was in there too. See, so yeah,
Okay.
wasn't too bad.
In that event, then you weren't part of the. Forgive me. You were not with the 12th Armored when they liberated the death camps. Then were you?
I was with the 12th Armored Division from the time it was formed until I came back to the States in August 1945, and the 12th Armored Division busted up, I think about 2 or 3 months after that.
Okay. So, did you visit some of the death camps, some of the concentration camps?
No, I was there when they were at Lindbergh, because we went up to Lindbergh and they seen all the prisoners. I didn't get to go inside, no.
Okay.
But I seen them, all the prisoners.
How did you get back to America?
Well, I came back. I was a detachment. There was 1,800 of us, and we were supposed to go to the CBI with me. Get a 30-day leave here, and then go to the CBI.
And CBI is.
That was China, Burma, India theater of action, and so we we was in. See, each one of those camps was waiting for ships. There was had a code name on the code name on ours was Camp Lucky Strike, and they had Philip Morris and all that. And while we were waiting there, we waited about 30 days there because we couldn't get a ship. They finally put us aboard a Liberty ship.
And this was in Europe to come back to America.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when we while we was there at the Camp Lucky Strike, they dropped the first A-bombs, and then we were there. We were halfway on the way home when the war was over.
You know, you mentioned the A-bomb. What was your first impression? Obviously, you didn't know what an A-bomb was.
Everybody was glad it didn't happen, and they knew that would be the finish of it.
Did you know what an A-bomb was?
Well, not only what we read, because it all came out in the stars and the stripes and all that, what an A-bomb was.
Okay. You know, one of my favorite things about World War II, speaking of Stars and Stripes, was Willie and Joe.
Yeah.
And then there was Sad Sack.
I've still got at home the one where they was laying up in a foxhole and they got a little bitty limb sticking up to the ground, and its nose looked like it's about 3 or 4 inches deep, and they got this little limb sticking up to the one bulb on the top of it. and they was standing on the foxhole with his rifle. He's on guard duty. I got that every Christmas. Where I lived, we take it down to the clubhouse, and I put it on the bulletin boards. There's a lot of extra guys there.
Now you came back to the States, and of course went back to your wife. And what did you do then? What kind of work did you engage in?
I went. Well, I got back in. I got out of the army in October, and then in November I went back to the river. I went back on the boat on the river, and I was working out there. I worked out there till 1957, and then I bought a couple of trucks, dump trucks, and it was getting cold, and I couldn't get no work for them then. So I went out to California on vacation, and I went into the San Diego Gas and Electric, and they gave me a job, and I worked there for 27 years.
And how many children did you have?
Two boys. You got one boy here with me now, and the other one lives in St. Louis.
Well, it sounds like you had a fascinating experience. Share with me what you'd like to share that I haven't asked about. What have I not asked you about that you would like to share with me? Is there an experience you had that
There was one experience. I was driving a Jeep over there, and we were taking the sounders up in Germany, and we had a pretty good sized fight that morning, and when we pulled into a bunch of houses, well, there was a German soldier laying there on the street, and he was, wounded real bad. So first sergeant had us to laid him up on the hood of our Jeep, and there was a German hospital about 3 miles back, and we took him back there, and we under a white flag, and when they cut all, the Germans put fire on everything while we was back there, until we got on back to our own company, and then all hell busted us again. But they did respect us doing that.
Because you were caring for one of theirs.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful story.
Yeah. I was scared, I tell you that.
How long were you behind German lines?
Oh, I'd say about 45 minutes, because we had to take him in, take him off there. We pulled up, they had German guards standing up beside it, one on each side of the door when we pulled up under the white flag. And there's I don't know what rank he held. He come down, and the sergeant I was with, Sergeant Wayland Britt, and they took him up together upstairs in the building, and I sat there and waited till they come back in. The Germans were walking all around there, and I didn't make a move. I just sat there, and I couldn't speak German, so I might as well keep my mouth shut, which I did. But just like out here now, on Camp Barkley, they're trying to remember where the 12th Armored Division was at out there. I told Doctor what I know about. Outside the post gate out there used to be a restaurant and a clothing store. Right there, it was a good sized building. In between the restaurant and the clothing department, there are 2 swinging doors. And at nighttime, us guys would go out there, to get sandwiches. and they'd be lined up for a couple hundred guys out there to get sandwiches. And I was always the smallest one in the company, and we go into the clothing department, go up to the swinging doors and give me a list, no money, and they'd pick me up and set me over the doors. And I'd go get the sandwiches and bring them back to them, and then let me up and bring me back over the doors. And
thank you. I have had a delightful time. You have been, it's been a thrill. And I want to thank you for sharing your experiences with me, for putting on the tape, and people that I don't know and you don't know will appreciate this.
Let's put it this way. It was an experience that I wouldn't want to go through again. I would take nothing for it, but I wouldn't want to go through it again.
Understood. Let me say one thing. I forgot to say this the first tape. This is an interview with Orville Hatley, May 19, 1999. The interviewer is Fred Bailey, who is the chairman of the history department at Abilene Christian University. Now, I said that just for the official part of the tape. Now, let me say it from my heart. Thank you very much. That was great.
Okay.
Wait a second. I'll unplug you.
Yeah, you just.
Okay. Now, let me make sure I've got this here. And I'm going to readjust this slightly. Now. One of the things that we were just talking about when the tape was off for a minute was the fact that apparently you had a business at Camp Barkley.
Yeah.
Share that with us, will you please?
Well, we, Barkley here was a dry county. You couldn't buy beer or anything else. Well, we used to go in, we had somebody going in on weekend to San Antonio, and they'd bring back bottles for all of us. Well, we'd sell them for, let's see, it was $10 a pint, or $12 if you were, they had wait till payday. And so just before we was getting ready to ship out, we was getting some to take on the train with us. And we got caught with it. So we had to get rid of it that night. And I guess you know there was a bunch of fucking guys laying around in the latrine that night. And but we made a little bit of change that way anyway.
Well, that was part of Army life. And I promise you one thing, I won't get you in trouble for telling that story. Okay?
Huh?
I will not get you in trouble for telling that story. What, who was going down to San Angelo?
No, I won't say that, but it was a cook.
So the cook was the one that was going down there.
He was going down, he had a car down there, see, and he'd go down, he'd pick up all of we'd take orders beforehand, and then he'd go down, we'd go down, pick it up, and bring it back here, and he'd sell it.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that story. I do appreciate that. That's the kind of stuff people would love to know about.
Yeah, well, you're afraid somebody's going to...
Nobody's going to do anything to you.
No, I guess you could, at the end, I bet you could find about many a pint bottle laying out there.
I bet we could too. Well, thanks again. I appreciate that. Now,
That's okay.
okay. If you don't mind, you just hold
Yeah,
on.
man. Really, guy, it's,
Whose muscles?
he's muscled Emery. The video operator in our headquarters, Hatfack, and it's over in Germany. And I tell you what day it was. The day that they announced, the Sunday that they announced that President Roosevelt had died. And we had there was a German plane come over, and he had two P-47 behind chasing him. And Emory got on the hat track, and machine gun on the hat track. He opened up, and we didn't pay no attention. But noticed one, though, was smoke coming out the tail. And when he went down, and he said, "Oh," says, "I think I got one." And about 10, 15 minutes later, the company commander come out. He said, "Who's doing all that firing?" And we told him, said, "I was, sir." And he said, "You know what?" Said, "You just knocked down one of our own planes." And in the meantime, Emory was trying to putting up a Swarovski on his door of his hat pack. And when he told him that, he says, "You just knocked down one of our planes." He said, "Oh, don't make it to me." He just marked it off like this and put an American flag there.
Oh my. And that'd be friendly fire. Do you know anything about the pilot? Did he make it or not make it?
No, he probably parachuted out because that was the only plane that was in the air. It was them two.
Good. Okay. Great. Any other stories you think you might like to tell? All righty. Well, now, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Hatley.